If there is one thing that we have learned about the NBA, it is that the youthful, high-level talent across the league is at an all-time high. So many players, either on rookie-scale contracts or freshly on new contracts, have made a name for themselves not only as the leaders of their respective teams, but as superstars across the NBA. One of them is Zach Lavine, and a lot of teams look to sign the talent. This and more in today's video. First is the Miami Heat. It feels like the Miami Heat are linked to any star player as soon as they become available. Our hunch is that mostly Miami is a fun place to be a star. The Heat are already full of them with Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Kyle Lowry, and Harrow on the roster. It's no surprise that as of this writing, they're still in the mix for the NBA championship. If they fall short of that goal, they may be looking to make some changes this summer. Lavine ought to be a short-term upgrade over Harrow. He's a vastly superior athlete in addition to being an at least equally skilled guard. If this trade were to happen, the Miami Heat would have a great shot at going the distance next season. Don't tell that to Harrow. He plays with confidence that goes beyond his sixth-man role. In Chicago, he'd probably see an increase in usage as the team would hope he could replicate as much of Lavine's production as possible. That's a tall order, but we have a feeling Harrow would feel like he was up to the task. Next is Philadelphia 76ers. Daryl Morey loves stars. In fairness, most NBA general managers do. Daryl Morey really loves stars. On the other hand, he's relatively indifferent to role players and draft picks. They are, to him, a means to an end. That end, obviously, is acquiring star players. He already landed one at this year's trade deadline. Still, James Harden looks like a compromised version of himself. Meanwhile, Joel Embiid is one of the league's most dominant forces, but his proneness to injury is a concern. These Sixers could probably use one more star player. Some would suggest that they already have one in Tyrese Maxey. Fair enough. Still, relying on such a young player in the biggest moments may prove untenable. Plus, at 21, Maxey shouldn't be above manning the sixth-man role for a season while Philadelphia runs a potentially dominant Harden-Lavine backcourt. Meanwhile, this deal gives the Chicago Bulls an opportunity to stop and think. If they're losing Lavine, that's probably for the best. They could continue to aim for wins with DeRozan, Vucevic, and Harris on the roster. If that's the plan, they can flip their newfound draft capital for an impact player or two. Alternatively, they can rebuild. If that's their course of action, they'll be happy to have an elite defender in Thibault as well as that draft capital. Finally, we have Atlanta Hawks. Bulls received forward John Collins and center Onyeka Okongwu for Zach. This may be the best package the Chicago Bulls receive in this video. It allows them to get younger and stay competitive at the same time. It is possible that Jack Collins has hit a ceiling. He's a hyper-athletic power forward who provides ample floor spacing in addition to excessive vertical gravity. He may not have the ball handling or shot creation chops to ever function as anything more than a third option in this league. On a related note, a third option is a very good NBA player. Collins is one of those. Furthermore, Onyeka Okongwu has the prerequisite combination of wingspan, vertical, and IQ to be a defensive anchor in this league for a decade or more. The Chicago Bulls could play him behind Vucevic. They may want to closely monitor each's plus-minus stats if they do. We have a hunch Okongwu could take over as the team's starting center by the end of 2022-23. In other news, let's talk about Bucks offseason outlook. A new champion will be crowned this season. In losing to the Celtics in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, the defending champion Bucks have been eliminated from the playoffs. The Bucks went 51-31 in the regular season to earn the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. They made light work of the Bulls in the first round of the playoffs, but lost Chris Middleton to an MCL injury early in the series. That hurt them in the second round, as they didn't quite have the firepower to defeat the Celtics, even with Giannis Antetokounmpo taking his game to another level. What's next for the Bucks? First, let's talk about the upcoming free agents. The Bucks have a few players hitting free agency this offseason. On the unrestricted side, the most notable is Wesley Matthews. Jordan Nwora and Lyndall Wigginton are the only players on the roster who will be restricted free agents, giving the Bucks the opportunity to match any offer sheet they sign with another team. Additionally, Bobby Portis, $4.6 million, Pat Connaughton, $5.7 million, and Thanasis Antetokounmpo, $1.9 million, each have a player option for the 2022-23 season, making them potential potential unrestricted free agents. The Bucks have no team options. How different will the Bucks look next season? We know Antetokounmpo, Middleton, and Holiday will be back, but the Bucks could look quite different on the margins depending on what Matthews, Portis, and Connaughton decide to do. Matthews signed with the Bucks in December as a free agent. After coming off the bench for 35 of the 49 games, he appeared in the regular season. He started all 12 games in the playoffs, filling an important role with his three-point shooting and pesky perimeter defense. Portis signed at a discount to return to the Bucks. That decision could pay off this offseason, as the Bucks would have his early bird rights if he opts out of his contract, allowing him to sign a contract starting at $11 million up to 4 seasons, per ESPN's Bobby Marks. With Brook Lopez sidelined after undergoing back surgery, Portis made the most of his expanded role this season. He averaged 14.6 points and 9.1 rebounds in 28.2 minutes per game, all of which were career highs. Finally, Connaughton has been an important part of Milwaukee's bench the last couple of seasons. He's also coming off a career year that saw him average 9.9 points per game on 39.5% shooting from three-point range. Only Middleton and Grayson Allen made more three-pointers than him during the regular season. Matthews will be an unrestricted free agent, but both Portis and Connaughton have a player option in their contract for the 2022-23 season. If they decide to go anywhere else, the challenge will be on Milwaukee's front office to find the necessary replacements in free agency to continue contending. Next, DeAndre Ayton, Suns at contract crossroads entering free agency after Monty Williams benched center in Game 7 blowout. DeAndre Ayton and the Suns saw their title aspirations come crashing down in Game 7 of the Western Conference semifinals as they were on the wrong end of a historic rout by the Mavericks. On a night where the Suns trailed by as many as 46 points, Ayton was limited to just 17 minutes of action, the lowest of any Suns starter. Ayton was not in foul trouble, so him seeing limited time in a closeout game only made matters worse for the Suns. The situation has opened a new dialogue surrounding the former number 1 overall pick's future with the franchise. If it wasn't because of fouls, why did Ayton play so little in Phoenix's final game of the season? When Suns head coach Monty Williams was asked about the situation post-game, he was brief in his answer. Ayton declined to speak with the media post-game. A first-hand account from Suns superfan Mr. ORNG states that after Ayton was subbed out early in the third quarter, he and Williams engaged in a verbal confrontation, causing 2 coaches to step in and intervene. Ayton was pulled less than 20 seconds after a play in which he failed to close out on Jalen Brunson, who hit a corner 3 to put the Mavericks up by 39 points. He would sit for the remaining 20 minutes and 46 seconds of game time. If Ayton's benching was a byproduct of internal tension, what does that mean for his future with the franchise? Because Ayton did not reach an agreement with the Suns by the extension deadline, he now enters the 2022 offseason as a restricted free agent, meaning he is free to sign an offer sheet with any team, but the Suns have the right to match the deal. There is an alternative timeline in which Ayton could sign a $16.4 million qualifying offer for the 2022-23 season to enter unrestricted free agency in 2023, but it would be a risky move that is largely unprecedented. On Monday, Wojnarowski reported that the relationship between Ayton and the Suns is up in the air, with the big man sure to attract plenty of interest in free agency. Unfortunately, that is all the time we had for today, guys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more great NBA news. Till next time, cheers!